Hi guys, Grétar here at Solis. Today I'm going to talk to you about one of my favorite, absolute favorite topics. It's fear. To me, it has been the driving force in my life and through my addiction was fear. I didn't know it at the time, but it was. I always, when people told me like, you're full of fear, you're this and that, like I didn't identify because I was that kind of an addict that and an alcoholic that I went into fearful situations, I did fearful stuff, I was constantly trying to prove that I wasn't scared or full of fear, which I didn't see at the time. I was just constantly trying to prove that I wasn't fearful. My fear, I remember, it materialized in different ways, and this like unexplainable black hole in my stomach of anxiety and fear. Like, for example, when I was walking into a supermarket, I grew up in Iceland and I spent most of my time in Iceland, which is a tiny community. And the likelihood of you meeting somebody in the supermarket like that and that will stop and talk to you is quite high because there's 300,000 people there. So what I did before I went into a supermarket, because I started being terrified of meeting people. I didn't want to meet people. I didn't want to talk to people. So I pretended to be on the phone. Like I walked in the whole way, whole time while I was shopping, I pretended to be on the phone because I was terrified of somebody, striking up a conversation with me. I didn't want that. I couldn't handle it. Likewise, I didn't open up mail. When I had black bags like of mail that I never opened, that I went and took to my accountant because I couldn't open mail. I couldn't go and see the tax office. I couldn't, meet authority. I was terrified of it. But I was, running security. I was working, difficult jobs, dangerous jobs. I was faced with life-threatening situations. I wasn't scared of that. I had this irrational fear. And a lot of us identify with it because we get ourselves into situations as active addicts and alcoholics. We get ourselves into situations that any normal person would be terrified of, but we normalize it. That is our life. But we have this fear built inside us, and the reason why we are drinking and drugging is because of fear. We don't fit in. We're fearful. We can't cope with life, and that is one of the reasons why we do what we do. I remember, I thought if I would, reach certain points in life, I set myself goals. If I could, lift this much, and I was competing in sports, strongman competitions and things, and I always said to myself, if I get this title, if I get this far, this will leave me. I will be whole. And the only thing that happened is, I remember, standing on a podium and receiving a medal. The only thing that I realized at that moment, the only thing that has changed is I had a massive body. I was a terrified young little boy trapped in a big man's body, still full of fear. And the reason why I remember this is I was standing there, getting my medallion, and I wasn't enjoying the moment. I was terrified of meeting people afterwards because I was sober. I couldn't. I was terrified, and I was, trying to figure out ways how would I be able to run and hide, and not run and hide, get myself out of it, and like we always did. So fear has been a running factor in my life, and it has been the most destructive force in my life for years. I didn't realize it, that I was full of fear. I didn't. And I didn't realize it until I had been sober for quite some time. The reason why I lied, the reason why I cheated, the reason why I did most of the things I did is fear. irrational fear. Like I was terrified of the things that I didn't have to be terrified of. Like going to a family reunion, for example, is something I could not, for the life of me, just the thought of it got me terrified. But I would be willing to go to war. It makes no sense, but that is the way it was. Because like emotional intimacy is the thing that I feared the most, I think. And being confronted, like with the people that actually knew me. That is what I was terrified of. So, I don't know about you guys, fear was my worst enemy for years. And I'm guessing if you look inwards and if you identify with the things that I'm talking about and saying here, you will know what I'm talking about, and then you will need to come and see us, because God knows this is not going to leave us unless we do something about it. Talk to you later.